Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Davis, or Coleman, will you open in prayer? I'm not giving you back, so.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the blessings you bestowed upon each and every one of us. Guide us, direct us, lead us, so that we might make the decisions that would please you and take care of this county. There are those out there that are in need. Lord, lay your hand upon them. You know their needs. You know what their need is, so please, Lord, comfort them in every way that you can. We ask all of this in thy heavenly precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you both. And welcome.
Gentlemen, I'm going to wear my mask today because
We appreciate that.
I've been to the doctor, but I'm still coughing, and I don't think I'm contagious, but I don't want to take any chances.
And you did test negative.
And I tested negative.
We appreciate that. I tried to get Commissioner Davis to wear a mask as well, but that's
For other reasons. It's okay.
I only had one
okay.
left.
yeah.
This is the only one I had left in
Please
my
wear
office.
the big lips on the outside for this.
So I'm not going to entertain everyone. I'll put it on the
I'll make you get mine.
Opportunity.
opposite side.
All right. With that, can we get started with the approval of the meeting minutes, September 8th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 8th as submitted by our clerk.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of request for appropriation of funds,
Any comments or questions on our appropriations? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of request for appropriation transfer of funds,
Any comments or questions on item 3? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of update of the 2022-2023 Sauter County Hazard vulnerable, I can't say that.
Vulnerability.
Yes.
You know, the thing.
I couldn't get it out. Assessment regarding EMA.
Okay.
Thank you
Gotcha.
for that. This is the 23-24 HVA. It's based on input from members of the Sauter County Local Emergency Planning Committee and the current Sauter County Hazard Mitigation Plan. The mitigation plan contains a comprehensive study of the hazards most likely to impact Sauter County and includes 14 threats and dangers, hazards, events such as weather, storm, summer storms, flooding, and terrorist attacks were analyzed and ranked according to the potential risk they pose. You do have the plan for review and have had that. I want to thank Larry Mullins and the team, as always, for updating our plan and kind of keeping abreast of what are our most pressing hazards for this county. It is weather. We look at terrorism, things like that, but currently it's weather, and I'm sure the pandemic it ranked a little higher on this one as well, but it's weather and how we respond to that. But thank you for the team for updating this plan. Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of request to attend meetings or trainings,
Any comments or questions on the request to attend meetings? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of accepting miscellaneous reports,
Comments or questions on 6? Hearing none.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Ms. Coleman.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of resolution authorizing Darren LeBrun, PEPS, Sauter County Engineer, to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or Local Transportation Improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required.
All right, this is a resolution authorizing engineer Darren LeBron to prepare and submit an application for participate in our Ohio Public Works Commission, state capital improvement and local transportation improvement programs, and to execute these contracts. To date, this program has obtained $6,774,158 of OPWC funding for our roadways and other improvements, including a grant totaling of $2,479,299 for townships, $735,000 for the city of Portsmouth, $302,875 combined for the villages of New Boston and South Webster. A total of 127 townships and 28 municipal streets have been paved as part of this grant program. That is a lot of improvement and activity that this program has allowed. We appreciate Darren LeBron and his team for continuing to acquire these funds to help offset local dollars and be able to, quite honestly, pave more of our roads than would be available otherwise. So thank you, Darren LeBron. Any additional comments or questions regarding this resolution? Hearing none.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of change order, SCI CR 540-0.53, Barclow Road, Extension 2, regarding Sauter County Engineer.
This is a change order request from our Sauter County engineer. This is the Barclay Road Extension 2. This change order is for roadway construction with earthwork, drainage, subgrade work, paving, stripping, and finish grading. The contract price prior to the change was $312,663.65. This decrease of $424.28, a decrease, I'm going to point out, makes the new contract price with the change order being $312,239.37. This is the completion of the Barclay Road extension project. I believe it is now stripped. It's complete.
Yes.
Looks great out there. It goes right by the spec building, the first spec building, into and connects to the treatment plant out there at the SOAR Business Park. Any comments or questions regarding this item? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of request for fund transfers,
Any comments or questions on fund transfers? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of accepting amended certificate from the Budget Commission,
Any comments or questions on 10? Hearing none.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of approving payment of the regular schedule of accounts for the various funds, moral obligations, and then and now certificates in the total amount of $674,566.50.
Comments or questions on 11? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye.
In the matter of contract agreement between Sauter County Commissioners and Portsmouth Intercity Development Corporation regarding fiscal year 2022 Ohio Development Services Agency Fair Housing Program.
This contract with PIDC regarding CDG grant. They will be the consultant for our fair housing for providing fair housing intake, general fair housing information, assistance in filing fair housing complaints with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development or the Ohio Civil Rights Commission. They will also provide educational training regarding fair housing along with informational materials. This contract is for $14,000 for the grant cycle, which is for 2 years. Any comments or questions on this item? Hearing none.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye. And then we have item 13. We received communication from the Fair Board They have been requesting now for a bit, and we've been doing some research regarding alcohol sales at the fairgrounds. So we did receive an opinion back from our prosecutor's office in terms of liability and who needs to take that out. They've provided the ORC that permits this activity. I just want to open it up for discussion. We would have to have a resolution to allow them to do this. This is more of a discussion regarding if we want to even move forward with having our prosecutor's office draft a resolution. So once again, and Commissioner Coleman, I know you've spoken to Eugene a bit, if you want to share some additional insight there.
This request would not, this would not take place at the Sauter County Fair during Fair Week. It's more for special events, and there would be strict conditions, I would think, to make sure that the sale of alcohol in any kind of public environment is overseen by authorities such as the sheriff. And there's a lot of things to discuss with the Fair Board, so we can touch base on this again after we've had that discussion, if you wish.
Or we can kind of hash out what we would like to see or not like to see.
I would kind of like to see, to make sure that there are no coolers brought in. They do that at the Portsmouth Raceway Park. They check all coolers coming in. I would like for it to be more like a
Do they do alcohol sales at the raceway?
No.
Okay.
But they still check?
They check coolers.
Yes, coolers into the grandstands and to the pit areas. I would also like to, if they're going to do it, I've seen at some venues, they have like a beer garden, and they would drink their drinks there and not take them to the grandstands. Of course, these are just some things that I've been thinking about. You have anything else to add to that?
My understanding and the reason for the request, it is a belief of the Fair Board that it will generate revenue.
Yes.
They claim, I haven't seen any documentation that other fairs that have done this, because it is an agricultural byproduct, that other fairs have done this and have generated revenue. Once again, I haven't seen that or don't really know the scope of what that is. We do know that attendance, the reason they're asking, attendance has been going down. They're trying to figure out ways to generate additional revenue versus continuing to ask commissioners for always big projects, trying to figure out ways to fund some of the other things they would like to see happen out there. Commissioner Davis, any thoughts on this one?
You mentioned revenue. I guess the question there is how much revenue will there be recognized? And one of the things I found out is in regards to how these events are licensed at most fairgrounds. One of the things that I was told was that because of liability, safety concerns, things like that, that oftentimes the fair boards don't benefit directly. The organization that actually does the event, it's like we have a contractor that comes in and does trade days. It's separate. It's on them. It's their insurance. Of course, we carry liability insurance, but that entity would actually, they would recognize the revenue from the sale. This is more of a direct revenue builder. I don't know if that opens us up to more liability because it is a direct sale for revenue building for the fair board itself. So, we have not been shown any business plan showing how much this could possibly bring in. But I have serious concerns about safety and accidental or wrongful death liability for the county. I know that there's $1 million policy. There's not too many wrongful or accidental death lawsuits that get put on organizations that's $1 million. It's way more than that, and it's a liability issue for me. But
we can talk more about that. But I have serious concerns about what may happen during and after, even after an event. And I also am very cognizant of the fact that there has been alcohol at the fairgrounds before for an event that was not fair related, that got out of hand several years ago, and it was not pretty, and it was definitely a county-wide issue, and several people got very, very upset about what happened. So, very, very concerned about that. So, I'll leave it at that.
At this point, for me personally, I don't think it's not a fair activity for me. I think the fair is more about children, and you have all your 4-H kids out there that are out and around it all the time. I guess for me, it's a little more nuanced in terms of the special events and an event venue. If somebody's wanting to have a fundraiser out there, okay, are they allowed to sell? If somebody's wanting to have a wedding out there, are they allowed to have open bar or cash bar? As an event venue, I guess my question there is, is there an opportunity to do both things? Is there an opportunity to allow based on the type of event? And I don't have that answer, but I know with the closing of the Welcome Center, we don't have a lot of event space. Does the rental of some of the buildings at the fairground, does that generate additional revenue, even though, as you said, Commissioner Davis, it's not a direct connection to the alcohol sales, but would they rent it out more often if that was possible? I don't know. But I would like to see something a little more concrete versus just the, hey, or can we sell? Like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? So I guess that's where I'm at on it. I'd like to see, we've received a letter requesting. We haven't seen plans that detail that request, unless you guys have seen something else. But I know the Fair Board, and I understand their intentions. We've had the conversation. They've asked about it during the fair, even. Hey, are you guys willing to allow this? And my knee-jerk reaction was not at the fair. Then you start getting into more of the nuanced conversation of, okay, at different events, what's that look like? If we do this, if it's a ticket event, I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. I understand the concern. This is happening at other fairgrounds in the state. So is the Agricultural Society, are they able to provide some data comparable to what has happened after a decision like this? And maybe that's something the Fair Board can gather for us and present for us. But if there's other fairs that are doing this and there's some hard information of, does it generate the revenue we think it might? Does it generate the concerns we think it might? At this point, I do have several questions. I'm not opposed to the idea, I will say that. I'm opposed to parts of the idea. Once again, I think it's a little more nuanced. But I guess that's just where I'm at on it. So, Commissioner Coleman, I know you've been communicating with the Fair Board. Can you share our concerns with them and see if they're willing to put something more in-depth?
I can arrange
And
that.
more of a proposal for us to consider based on our concerns? Are we okay with that? We good with that?
Yes.
I know they have an event coming up October 1st. I don't know that we'll have any sort of understanding of what that might look like for that event. It's a quick turnaround for them to plan and for us to truly understand what that looks like. I'm also not opposed to doing a trial run with them and keeping a very tight leash on it, but also after each event, getting some sort of reporting of, okay, we did this, did it generate the outcomes we thought, one way or the other? So I guess that's my request to the Fair Board. Any additional thoughts you would like to see from the Fair Board on that? Commissioner Coleman or Davis?
what I've just already stated. It would have to be under strict conditions and so that something, as Mr. Commissioner Davis mentioned, that happened a few years back would never repeat itself. And under a controlled environment, I think it's possible. I'm not opposed to it, but I would have to, there's a lot of questions we have, and those would have to be answered and accepted. The decisions that we make would have to be accepted by that fair board. So I am in favor of communicating with them, have them to gather the information that we're requiring, and set the meeting as well
Okay.
with the fair board.
Okay, then like you said, I think there has to be some guidelines and understanding, even sheriff presence. And I think the event you referenced, I don't know. Of course, it was a different sheriff back then. I don't know what the coverage was, or if there was any. I don't know. My understanding was that there wasn't. So that's a concern, if we're gonna allow something like that, if they have the appropriate coverage, so. All right, with that, I don't think we have any vote to take at this point. It's just conversation. We have a lot of outstanding questions that Commissioner Coleman, we will allow you to gather that information for us if you would so agree to. With that, we are done with our agenda items. Do we have any questions, items on the agenda?
We have one,
Yep.
Joshua Lawson. Off agenda, are there any updates on the governor's $500 million investment in Appalachian counties? How much money should Scioto County expect to receive, and what projects would the commissioners like to see it used for?
So I'll share a little bit of the background on this, and then Commissioner Davis attended a symposium yesterday regarding this very item. $500 million is for 32 counties. It is project driven. The messaging we keep getting to this point is that they want to see collaboration with different municipalities, nonprofits, other counties even, regional projects. To this point though, we do not have the guidelines to even submit anything. Once we have those guidelines, it is going to be a fast and furious process because the money has to be allocated by the end of next year. Because this is coming from the Ohio's allocation of ARPA funds. We have had meetings with Representative Johnson, Representative Baldridge, the college, the city. I know we've all had different conversations with different nonprofits in the area of what that looks like. There's some very, at this point, guidelines and areas they want to see this money funnel to. Tourism is one of them. Downtown redevelopment is one of them. Healthcare, regional type healthcare is one of them. At one point, education was, and then the last. That one's kind of been a moving target. I know when Governor DeWine was down, he had 5 items, and then when we went to Columbus for the bill signing at the governor's mansion, there was 3 items, I think, that it kind of started boiling down to and taking shape. Once again, we do not have the guidelines for this. Commissioner Davis, if you'd like to share what happened yesterday, I know you represented us
Sure.
well at the symposium out in Brown County.
Yeah, Squeeze them out of work.
Mount, is that Brown or?
It's Brown, yeah,
Okay.
Brown. We was a Southern State Community College, and I'm really glad that question got asked because there is a lot going on with this. Yesterday, Senator Johnson, Terry Johnson, got together what was called the Southern Ohio Economic Development Symposium, and it really all evolved around what's going on now / plans for Appalachian Development Grant, the Appalachian Community Grant that everybody's talking about, which was just mentioned, the $500 million. And of course, that's going to pit 33 counties against each other. So when you look at that picture, that looks grim, but it's not, because you are supposed to collaborate. You are supposed to work together and come up with what really are generational, transformational projects for communities. So I went up there yesterday. Myself, Sam Sutherland from the city was there as well, and Community Development Director Tracy Shear was also with us, who we have met with multiple times since this all started, this whole process. Matter of fact, and I think I may have even mentioned it in this meeting before, that the day of, we went up in 2 cars, and Sam and I was in a car together, and we just talked the whole time about, on the way up, it was about, I wonder what this looks like. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what, this $500 million is really going to be able to be used for. And then once we got to the governor's mansion, and Lydia Mahalik, which is the director of Ohio Department of Development, she's a rock star, just to be honest. I mean, she is amazing. And what they're working on, of course, that's where the Brownfield grant went through, the recent monies for tear down housing went through. As far as blighted properties, that went through ODD. Of course, we also use ODD for CDBG and so many other grant programs that we do. So we have a really tight relationship with Ohio Department of Development. So, and they were present. They had representation there yesterday as well. We also had Representative Baldridge in the room, Representative Byrd, Representative Schmidt, which also represent the counties to the west of us. There was 4 counties represented: Claremont, Brown, Adams, Sauter, and Lawrence was invited. They opted not to attend yesterday. Don't know why, just not really sure. It could have just been a conflict of schedules. But the meeting started at 8:30, and we discussed, every county did a presentation. Part of the requirements was every county had to come and talk about, what are you doing? Robert Horton was unable to go. He had an appointment, a previous appointment down in Cincinnati, so he was unable to go. So Sam and I handled that presentation.
Thank you for that.
Yes, and it was very enlightening. We got to go last because our name starts with S, Sauter, but it was ABC, Adams, Brown, Claremont, and I was stunned by the amount of development and work going on in every county. So a lot of times we don't always know what's going on everywhere. I hate to use the word silo. You're kind of in your silo and you're doing your job, even though we know more about what Pike, Jackson, and Ross is doing because of JDISO. But what we heard yesterday was not only what's going on, but also what's planned. We know some of, like, Adams County Industrial Park. We know about those plans because of Ohio Southeast, of course, who we work with closely. We know about their grants. We also hear through Representative Baldridge some of the things that are happening over in Adams and Lawrence. And then we talk to county commissioners. We regularly talk to them, and they tell us. But we got to see, as John Kerry, over the governor's office of Appalachia would say, we got into the weeds yesterday. We got into where it's really at and started talking about all the nitty gritty, I guess is the best way to say it in Southern Ohio. We got into the nitty gritty, and we really got to hear details as to what people are doing, what they've done, which was pretty amazing, the amount of infrastructure that's being done throughout the region. We're doing a lot here in Sauter County. They're doing a lot. And then we talked about current initiatives. We talked about the recreation. We talked about, just everything you could think of. SOAR Business Park, which was huge. We covered this whole gamut of the things that are going on in our community. And the city, of course, talked about the city building. And we talked about the grants that we recently did for Market Square Park and GLOW out in Lucasville and Franklin Furnace and all these things that are going on throughout the county. We talked about collaboration with ODNR, collaboration with ODOT, the Ohio River Campground. I mean, it was just on and on and on. And actually, Tracy Shear did a great job. She took everything together. I mean, she took everything that Marcy Barlow in Economic Development sent her as far as here in Sauter County. Tracy took it and just packaged it, and she did a great job on that. And she refused to present. She said, "You guys do it." And he's like, "Okay, we'll do it." But it was definitely the Sam and Brian show yesterday. But we had a great presentation. We covered a lot of points, and we did cover some of the vision for the Appalachian Development Grant. These are things we have not discussed too openly because it's all vision at this
I don't know
point.
what the guidelines are.
But we don't know the guidelines, so it's kind of like the square peg round hole. How do you meet them? How do you match them together? We don't know yet because we don't know the shape of the square peg. Okay, we have ideas, and here's the round peg, or the square hole, the round peg. We have an idea of what that looks like, but here's our round peg, and we're kind of like, we got this ideas, and it's a lot of regional collaboration. It's a lot of collaboration with the city of Portsmouth. It's going to take a lot of collaboration with our townships. It's going to take collaboration with ODNR, ODOT, who we have already reached out to, Shawnee State University, others, to come together and talk about, and we have talked a lot about collaboration. And you know, that's required you going to meetings, and Kathy and me, we going to different places and making sure we're touching all the bases. But we talked about how we're going to link Adams County to Sauter County, how we can potentially link beyond Adams County, because Adams County talked about Highland County and talked about Brown County and how they have bike trails that they're going to be pushing into those counties. We talked about bike trails from Portsmouth going out 125 and 52 and Rails to Trails, which is now back alive, which we haven't talked much about, but we also don't have a lot of details, and we like to try to get in and dig in and get some more details before we start telling people stuff, because if it doesn't happen, then it's kind of a letdown. But you know, we're working that issue, and that's Norfolk Southern, and you're dealing with a railroad, and that's a different governance right there altogether. So we talked about that, because there's all these different ways we could get to Shawnee Forest, and all these ways that we can link the city and the university and our recreation opportunities, which I'll cover here in a second down the way. We can link our community in a greater way through bike, but also through water. You know, we talked about a water taxi from the riverfront to Shawnee Marina and linking. That's literally a link. It's not a physical link like we think. We think of roads as a physical link, right? But we're talking about a water taxi to go to Shawnee Marina and pick up people from Shawnee State Forest and bring them up to Portsmouth at the new port. A new port at the river. You know, Portsmouth has talked about redoing the riverfront for years. I mean, they have talked about this, and it's always been about money. You know, they've applied for grants, and they've gotten some of that money. They have. I think it's north of $2 million. But it's going to take a lot more than that. So that's part of the community development. You know, we're talking about the Appalachian Grant, redoing the entire riverfront, making it more. I hate to use the comparison, but Ashland is a good comparison.
So we get the World War II boat, maybe stopping.
Well, we get every paddle wheeler coming up the river to stop, because we have so much to offer on 2nd Street. I know I get passionate when I think about this, but this is our dream. This is our opportunity to make something huge happen for our community. Whole riverfront redone, make it very accessible for boats and everything else that comes and goes, including LST tank landing ships like yesterday. Everything going by here, I get so weary of hearing about such and such boat is passing at 2 p.m. Why aren't they stopping? You know, and it's because we don't have a developed riverfront. We need this done. We all agree. The cooperation between the city and the county is at an all-time high right now, and it was highlighted yesterday in a big way. It really was. And so that's happening. Tying that into Shawnee State University, the whole project that they have as far as the Gateway project into the city, the Cricker Innovation Hub, Martins, we talked about all these things, Martins development, the city building, you know, the recent work that's being done in the city. There is so much going on. I mentioned the fact that there, you know, here soon you're going to have 3, maybe 4 multi-million-dollar projects happening right on Chillicothe Street. The investment on 2nd Street, we have the businesses, and they're being added to all the time. So we talked about that. We talked about bike trails to there, but also trails all the way to Lawrence County. You know, tapping into what we're doing in Franklin Furnace and taking it down County Road into Lawrence County. So hypothetically, and it's pie in the sky stuff, but it is doable with money, and our county engineer, who just walked in the room, by the way. But it is doable. It's possible, and we have a vision so much further than all of this. We're talking about healthcare. We're talking about a recreational park. redoing Spartan Stadium, redoing Grand Cherokee Park, redoing the ball fields, adding a rec center, adding a health access point. All these things were talked about yesterday. Telehealth, so many things for our community that will literally touch every part of our county and our people. So there's a lot on that. I cannot go into details. We got a bid opening, I know, but I cannot go into details. But we are so excited about this. The collaboration is huge. It is huge. I've never seen anything like this, and we have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I will actually be attending a dinner with Director Mahalik tonight.
Perfect.
And Lieutenant Governor Husted. So we will be talking about this again and tomorrow as CCO puts forward their policy plans for next year for the budget and everything else. We're talking about those things tonight and tomorrow. But exciting things are happening. My goodness, exciting things are happening. We've never seen anything like this in Southern Iowa. So let's hope positive things come out of it.
And when we do get the guidelines, you'll start hearing the more solidified items. You heard some of it just there, and all massive plans.
Yeah, they're not really wanting infrastructure because you have OPWC, you have CDBG, you have all these avenues for infrastructure that we already have those avenues. They want transitional, life-changing projects done.
Yep.
And we're talking things that 50 years from now, our children's children will look back and say, wow, they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. And that's what they're looking for, and that's what we're after with this money, and that's what we're driving toward.
Thank you so much for representing us well yesterday, and thanks again to the City of Portsmouth. As Brian said, the collaboration has never been higher. We've got a really nice working relationship with the city right now. And I think people can see that, they can feel it. Just what we pulled off on Chillicothe Street, I think, is proof of that. So thank you, Brian. We do have a bid opening 13 minutes later, but we do have a bid opening. This is for the caulking project for the windows of the courthouse. We want to go ahead and open that. We have one bid.
One bid.
Okay.
We'll take a lot of call.
A lot of windows.
But less caulk than before because we got the cornice fixed.
There you go.
Yeah, less caulk.
This is from Advanced Building Restorations, and it is in the amount of $77,338.
Okay. 77,338.
Yes. And we also have a bid opening that is for the new camera project for the courthouse, but at this time, we do not have any bids, but it's due to a conflict in scheduling for the mandatory walkthrough.
So with that, I believe we'll need to rebid that out or re-advertise that.
Yes.
Are we clear to go ahead and just, we've already, are we clear to go ahead and make a motion to authorize the clerk to re-advertise? I know it's not on our agenda, but with the new information that we have no bids, if I can get a motion for that, that way we don't have to wait till the next meeting to do that.
I'll give a motion.
I'll
Thank you.
second.
And so we have
Mr.
a motion
Davis?
second.
Aye.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Hi, thank you.
And-
And we do have to make a motion to forward the bid to maintenance, or maintenance director?
I'll make a motion to forward the one bid on the caulking to our maintenance manager for review and subsequent possible approval.
I got a motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman?
Aye.
Mr. Powell?
Hi. Was there any other questions?
Yes, there's 3 more.
Okay, I am trying to stay semblance on schedule, but yeah, let's go ahead.
Okay, Mark Craycraft, are there plans to replace the former CPS director? And who is now taking on the responsibilities he left behind? And currently, how many kids are in care?
Great question, Mark. Our JFS director, Tamara Morton, has been working on interviews. She has brought in a panel of experts from other counties that are experts in CPS to help with those interviews. They've been working through that. They have not made a recommendation as of yet. It will not be a director title. In the JFS world, there's actually not two directors. So you have the director of JFS and then you have an administrator of CPS. So that is the person we're looking for. Those interviews have been taking place. I have yet to see the recommendation or who they're moving forward with. So his roles will go to that person. In terms of kids in care, just last week or the week before, it was 285. I was informed yesterday we are back down to 266. So we had a pretty good
366?
366. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry. So it was
I was gonna say.
385. You're like, whoa, we just dropped 100 kids.
Yeah.
Say that again.
It was 385. We're now 366. And that's to the credit of the CPS team working these cases, and I also believe it's to the credit of the prosecutor's office for tracking and moving forward on these timelines to ensure that we don't, one, to clean up the backlog, but to also to ensure that kids are not languishing in care longer than they should. So that's where we're currently at. Another question?
Yeah, Mark Craycraft. Solid Waste Management has been very vocal about problems with dumpsters and large amounts of dumping. Are they seeing any improvements?
I don't, Mark, I don't have that answer. We can get with Rick unless he shared something different with either of you.
I haven't heard anything lately. It's just an ongoing issue.
I know it did not come up in our most recent solid waste district committee meeting. It wasn't something that was top of mind during that meeting. Is that an indicator that it's gotten better? I wouldn't say that, but I will tell you that it did not come up in our last meeting for an update.
Mark Craycraft.
Mark's on a roll. All right.
Call him
Is
up.
the Economic Development Department actively seeking and soliciting inpatient mental health companies to consider our area as a potential investment?
Actively soliciting, I would say that's a no. Would they discourage or not work with somebody? Of course not. They would be working with folks. But in terms of reaching out to different private sectors, specifically in mental health, I don't know of any active activity there. So, with that, no other questions? Perfect. Commissioner Coleman, any additional things to add?
Not at this time, sir.
No, thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Yes, very quickly. St. Mary's International Festival and Car Shows this weekend on Saturday. Kiwanis Kids Day, Tracy Park. What? Wait. Oh gosh.
Go ahead.
Is going on. Also, if you go out to the SOAR Business Park right now, you'll see where ground has been broken for the MEAS building.
Is that project number 2?
That would be project number 2, yes, sir. And they are working on that diligently. So you're going to see a whole lot of earth moving out there. So yeah, go check it out. It's pretty neat to see everything going on. And then of course we're going to be going vertical with steel on Spec 1 here soon too for Benestar. So that'll be happening. I did mention the Senator Johnson Symposium. One of the things we talked about also with the Appalachian Development Grant was, with broadband, and this is a great frustration that we're having all across the region, is that there's all this money flowing into the region and all these ISPs are picking up this cash. And of course, we're talking 2, 3, 4 years for build out of the system, unfortunately, but that's what it's taking to do it. Permitting itself is 9 to 10 months, period. I mean, it's just to get permits on a lot of this stuff that's out there, which I think they should figure out a way to do it faster. But anyways, they're working on it, but we're still not getting the micro maps that we need to do common sense planning at the local level. Yes, Charter's getting money, and yes, SOX is getting money, and all these organizations are getting money. And then we also have issues with current ISPs that aren't getting the job done in our county. So unfortunately, we're dealing with Public Utilities Commission Ohio on that. We're dealing with FCC. We're dealing we're dealing with all these things, and there was a lot of frustration that was mentioned as far as broadband, that there's monies flowing, and matter of fact, there's even more money that's flowing for broadband from the federal and the state level. We want to make sure that that money gets here to Southern Ohio, but we need data. And that is one of the big frustrations, is to be able to do micro-planning. When I talk about micro-planning, I'm not talking about, first mile stuff where, you have a truck going and it's going down this road or it's going by this road. I'm talking about, 4 or 5 houses up a hollow has coverage, but then the last 4 and 5 houses don't. We need to get those last 4 and 5 houses. We need to make sure these businesses have coverage, and not just access, but affordable access. That's the other issue. So we're really looking at that. Charter does, by the way, and I wanted to mention this as a result of a meeting last week. Charter does have a program for low-income people. If you are low income and you are paying top dollar for internet access, you really need to call Spectrum, which is Charter, by the way, and ask them about that program. If you are low income, you may qualify for a substantially reduced rate. We just found out about this, and really this could help a lot of people in our county. So if you are on Spectrum, and by the way, other ISPs have similar programs. So call your internet service provider and call them and ask them, look, I'm low income, I'm on a fixed income. Ask and see if they give special rates for seniors, for people that they just don't have the money. See what you can work out with them. You may be surprised. Maybe you can save some money. Okay, and then and that's it. I'm gonna shut up. You go. I've taken too much time.
No, I appreciate it, and I'll just piggyback on the internet discussion. I have been in the Broadband Ohio cohort for the past 15 weeks, whatever it's been. And you're right. So we should be getting different style maps. They call fabric maps, I think is what they call them. In November, we had a really good conversation with Spectrum last week. They're doing an analysis of a white area, I believe they called it, areas that it's not hooked up and isn't currently in their plans to go to. Because we did ask, hey, if we wanted to help get it there based from ARPA funds or whatever, what does that look like? And to get down to the nuance of the last 4 houses in the holler, we need our ISPs to work with us, and some of them are. Some of them are really been helpful. They've given us their maps. They're giving us exactly where they're going. And even Spectrum, they made the recommendation that from a county expenditure, from a county ARPA expenditure, for us to hold tight and not spend our money just yet, because there's more money coming and there's better maps coming. So we're still very much working with our ISPs and understanding the problem. It's they literally, you're talking about licensing, and they literally have to get every pole they hook to. They have to have a permit for each pole. There's documentation for each pole, and I didn't realize that going into this, but it's not just, hey, run the wire and hook us up. It's a lot more involved than that, and different approvals well above what happens here at the county. But
I did appreciate the statement he made about we one of the things we brought up was, when are people going to get hooked up? When are people going to see help? And they did commit to starting to let us know when certain areas are going to be turned on. So they did commit to that.
Yep.
So that was really promising, that we would be able to communicate that to the community, what's going on.
perfect.
The fact that they've offered us the fabric maps is going to mean a great deal. We'll be able to specifically see ourselves and be on top of that. And I really appreciate them willing to share those with us.
I'll also piggyback, because I do like to point out what's going on in the county, because it drives me crazy when people say there's nothing going on. Kiwanis Kids Day, that is a free Kids Day at the park. That happens Saturday. St. Mary's International Festival and their car show. Of course, Commissioner Davis hit on both of those. Our agritourism is in full swing. Kindred Ridge Farms opens this Saturday. Noble Farms opens this Saturday. Furman's, and when I say open, their activities, and they've always been open, but in terms of you can go in and paid activities with their corn mazes and their different events and stuff they have on site. And then I just saw Furman's has looks like a pretty beautiful sunflower field you can go pay, get your pictures in, and so support our farmers, support our agritourism. It is a way that they can help sustain the farms outside of just selling their crops or selling their animals. It is a way to sustain their business. So please support them. And I'm probably missing events, but I mean, there's 5 right there if you're looking for something. And then, of course, not that Ashland is in our backyard, but there is an opportunity to take your kids down and see the tank carrier down at Ashland. It's not in this area too often, and gives you a chance to teach your kids about the men and women that serve our great country, and kind of show them what they go through as part of that service. So I think they're down this weekend. I don't know if they're only down this weekend, but I know they're there right now. But with that,
You can always go to a bowl game on Friday night, support your schools.
Of course,
whether you have
of course,
children
we're
or
football season,
grandchildren.
Kathy. Being a West Sider, I should have known you would have brought that up. Of course, there's football, Kathy.
Absolutely, some
Uh,
great games going on.
There is. So yeah, support your kids, support the schools. But with that, can I get a motion to
Motion to
adjourn?
adjourn? I'll make that motion.
Second.
Ms. Coleman,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Powell.
Aye. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Support these local
Thank you.
organizations.